The pound-for-pound debate in combat sports has been a debate which has divided opinion for many years. With boxing, particularly, because there are so many weight classes, the debate around who is the true pound-for-pound number one in the sport is extremely interesting, and it is rare for many people to come to an agreement. Teddy Atlas, who is a legendary boxing coach, commentator, and analyst, as well as one of the most intelligent minds in the sport, recently had his own say on the pound-for-pound debate on his podcast, The Fight, and produced some very interesting and some would say, controversial takes on the debate. 1. Henry Armstrong. Professional boxing record, 152-22. Taking the number one spot on Teddy Atlas' list of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters in boxing history is Henry Armstrong. Although Atlas has publicly admitted that Armstrong is his favorite fighter of all time, which may typically suggest some bias in his ranking, the former simultaneous three-weight world champion is undoubtedly one of the best boxers ever. The Mississippi native still remains to this day the only fighter ever to hold world titles in 3 separate weight divisions at the same time, which is one of the most impressive accolades ever. Despite his professional boxing career lasting just 14 years, Armstrong managed to compete in 183 fights, which is activity to a level which is pretty much unheard of. The method to Armstrong's activity was to KO his opponents early and often, which allowed him to remain physically fresh and active in the ring. My favorite fighter of all time. He defended the welterweight title 18 times in 27 months. You'll never have a man like this again. Fought at featherweight, welterweight, and then, for the lightweight title, wins all 3 titles within 10 months. 2. Sugar Ray Robinson. Professional boxing record, 174-19. One of the most well-rounded and faultless boxers of all time. Sugar Ray Robinson is an absolute must to speak about when discussing the greatest pound-for-pound boxers ever. To emphasize just how good Robinson was, many years before the pound-for-pound debate became a thing in boxing, he was named the pound-for-pound best before the term started to get branded about. Going back to Robinson's well-roundedness, just like the man who shared his nickname, Ray Leonard, Robinson possessed pretty much every boxing skill a fighter could dream of having, which made him an almost impossible and complex puzzle to solve for his opponents. 174 wins. Greatest footwork, greatest speed. He was majestic, just beautiful to watch. 3. Sam Langford. Boxing record, 178-30. Despite being considered to be one of the best and most talented boxers of all time, Sam Langford never fought for a world title despite being a devastating force all the way from lightweight to heavyweight. Langford never fighting for a world title wasn't down to his talent. The only reason he never received title shots was due to racial barriers which were in place in the sport at the time when he was fighting. At 5 feet 7 inches, the Canadian would often be overlooked because of his size, but he possessed terrifying power in his hands, which was a huge reason as to why he was so successful across so many weight divisions. He fought from lightweight to heavyweight. He was avoided by all world title holders. 4. Muhammad Ali. Professional boxing record, 56-5. To many, Muhammad Ali is the greatest and most influential boxer of all time. However, he is ranked at number 4 on Teddy Atlas' list of the greatest pound-for-pound boxers of all time. When boxing fans and analysts discuss Ali, they often emphasize his influence on boxing, specifically when it comes to his trash-talking and ability to make fights big time instead of focusing on his skill in the ring. Ali's excellent combination of speed, agility, and head movement, while being a big heavyweight, is what makes him a true pound-for-pound great. Cus D'Amato used to tell me that Ali, before he went into exile, the only time you touched him was when the referee made you touch gloves with him. 5. Willie Pep. Professional boxing record, 229-11. When people think of the best defensive geniuses in the history of boxing, the names which are typically brought up are the likes of Floyd Mayweather and James Toney. However, arguably the biggest defensive mastermind of them all is Willie Pep, even though he isn't spoken about as much as the more mainstream greats. To emphasize just how defensively brilliant Pep was, there was a story which followed him throughout his career that he once won a round without throwing a single punch, simply based on his movement and defense. Despite not being as well known as some of the other fighters mentioned by Atlas, Pep's influence on fighters is huge, and legends such as Mayweather and Pernell Whitaker have directly credited Pep as an inspiration. Ring generalship, feinting, moving to the side, keeping the other guy off balance, making a guy afraid to throw. Made guys hit nothing but air. 6. Benny Leonard. Boxing record, 89-6. Benny Leonard is another name included in Teddy Atlas' list of the greatest pound-for-pound boxers ever who doesn't get the credit he deserves. Leonard is considered to be the greatest lightweight in boxing history and held the lightweight title for 8 years, from 1917 to 1925. Quite like Sugar Ray Leonard, who has also featured in Atlas Top 10. Leonard was known for his well-roundedness and adaptability in the ring, which made him such a difficult puzzle for his opponents to figure out. The New York native possessed incredible footwork, defense, and counterpunching, and that made him a deceiving but dangerous force. Untouchable for such a long time, he held the lightweight title for 8 years. 7. Harry Greb. Boxing record, 108-8. Having fought mainly in the 1920s and 10s. Harry Greb is naturally not spoken about that much when it comes to discussing the best fighters ever, but Teddy Atlas has given the almost 300-fight veteran his flowers. The Pittsburgh native made his name for being a chaotic and at times dirty fighter, but once he stepped inside the squared circle, he was all action and must-watch. Greb was known for his use of elbows, headbutts, and holding tactics, but was given some leeway for his actions given the fact that he was completely blind in one eye for a large portion of his career. He fought over 100 fights while blind in one eye. An incredible man from an incredible time. Nobody out-toughed him. 8. Joe Louis. Professional boxing record, 66-3. Joe Louis may just be the most well-rounded heavyweight boxer of all time. The Brown Bomber held undisputed status in the heavyweight division for an incredible 12 years, which is extremely impressive given the fact that at heavyweight, a fight can be turned on its head with just one punch. Louis completely cleared out the heavyweight division during his time as undisputed king and showcased regularly why he was at the top of the division. During a time when many top heavyweights relied on a big right hand, Louis had almost perfect technique, combinations, and movement, which made him the gold standard of the division. An ambassador for the sport, and an ambassador for humankind. 9. Sugar Ray Leonard. Professional boxing record, 36-3. Sugar Ray Leonard's name is constantly brought up when discussing the greatest boxers of all time, as he is one of the most well-rounded and adaptable fighters to have ever graced the sport. Leonard possessed pretty much every skill a high-level boxer would dream of having, but also had the intelligence to back up the skill which made him unbeatable when he was at his best. As well as his talent, Leonard's accolades are also incredible, as he was a 5-weight world champion and an Olympic gold medalist. If you can take the Sugar Ray name and get away with it, without embarrassing the name, and he did. He made us think of another Sugar Ray. 10. Roberto Duran. Professional boxing record, 103-16. Coming in at number 10 on Teddy Atlas' list of the greatest pound-for-pound boxers ever is the Panamanian legend, Roberto Duran. Duran is one of the very few fighters throughout history to have won world titles in 4 separate weight classes, which furthers his claim to be in the conversation when it comes to pound-for-pound greats. What also made Manos de Piedra so great while he was fighting was his longevity and fighting style. Duran's career lasted 33 years, which is almost unheard of, and he was all action and excitement throughout his 33 years in boxing. He was a great lightweight, and then he upset the world by winning the welterweight title. I'm sorry he's not higher on the list.